Host First Things First, joining us, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. I gave the ultimate compliment to Baker Mayfield today. Of course, it'll probably not land that way when I said the same thing about Baker that I say to my kids, which is high expectations and scrutiny are what I expect for people with great potential. And Baker Mayfield in week 1 had 2 drives where he had to throw, 3 and out and a pick. Very disappointing, Nick. I know you noticed that as well, right?
Well, I missed the very beginning of the show. I apologize. I didn't miss 90 seconds ago where you played, mini violins for Carson Palmer and Matt Stafford, who were drafted by the Bengals and the Lions. Meanwhile, Baker, was drafted by the great organization, the Cleveland Browns, who were 1-31 the 2 years before he got there. And then he got Freddie Kitchens and Hugh Jackson. You're like, Baker, where need to see more. I did hear almost all of yesterday's show. And while you were waxing poetic about Derek Carr, which, hey, good to know there's a huge Derek Carr fan out there. I didn't know they existed. You seemed to imply that Derek Carr's better than Baker. Because you were like, Carr, they knew he had to throw, and God love him. He made 2 completions when they knew he had to throw, and then they kicked a 55-yard field goal. And we're going to ignore the interception he threw in overtime because we're going to ignore it. But do you think Derek Carr is better than Baker?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you rather have Derek Carr than Baker?
Yes, I would.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. By the way,
by
the way, according to the tiers, the NFL tiers done by Mike Sando, so would NFL executives. They put Carr higher than Baker. That's the NFL executives.
Well, too many of them text with you and listen to your show. You're polluting the general NFL sphere with your terrible Baker take. You would rather have Derek Carr than Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
I don't know that David Carr would rather have Derek Carr than Baker Mayfield, but you would. Okay. Good to know.
All right.
It's good to know.
So Wednesday is your NFL tiers day. You put them in tiers. So do you have it? Can I see it?
Yeah. Well, I would hope someone has it. I could draw it for you, but hopefully they have it in the production room. They can throw it up there.
Let me look at it.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. So Brady.
What's jarring to you?
Green Bay is
now.
Tell
me, true contenders.
I thought Seattle looked flawless and Green Bay was terrible, but I'm not sure. By the way, I do like your courage to put Buffalo ahead of Pittsburgh because they are better. But I don't have a problem with Kansas City, although they were dominated for half the game. Cleveland, the second best team, is interesting, though. Tom Brady and Tampa below Cleveland. Okay.
Listen. So keep in mind, there's not left to right; it's top to bottom. So we're not gonna. It's not second and third. They're just in. We're going top to bottom there. I give Cleveland massive credit. I don't know that anyone else will have a fourth quarter lead in Arrowhead all year. They played the best team in football. They had a lead. It's not their fault that they got Mahomes. The Packers I had where the Rams were, but I got to move them down. They were miserable, but we don't want to overreact too much.
Fair.
I want to ask, listen, about Tampa. So Tampa was there before the year, and I left them where they were.
Yeah.
If I'm Tampa, I'm at least a little concerned about how the defense looked. Dak hadn't played in almost a year.
Fair.
You didn't have the offseason continuity, and if there was one weakness on Tampa, just one, it might have been the secondary, and that's the one spot they suffered an injury. A significant one was the secondary. I would like to just go to the bottom quickly and get your take on it. Like, the Cardinals probably were the most impressive team in the league week one.
Yes.
I just still think, like, in my gut, I think they're the fourth best team in that division.
Same here.
Just because it's such a tough division.
Yeah.
And so I give them a ton of credit for what they accomplished. And by the way, he did it a few months too late for me to avoid the ketchup and mustard experience, but wasn't it nice? Didn't it warm your heart to see the old Josh Allen back? Just spraying the ball all over the field. That cannon of an arm looked like a T-shirt cannon firing into the crowd, almost domed a cheerleader. Like, it was great. I was like, that's the Josh Allen I know and love. That made me feel good.
Well, let's agree on something. I was an Andy Dalton should start. Garoppolo should start. I am generally, in most situations, start the old guy. But I said earlier today that boxing and UFC promoters, when they have a young prize fighter they like. They give him 10 tomato cans. They give him nothing but W's. And I look at Justin Fields and that bad O-line, and it's going to be bad all year, and I think to myself, you know what? The next 4 pass rushes aren't great. This may be the time to get that kid out there because the Steelers are coming, the Niners pass rush is coming, Tampa's coming. So my take is I would move to Justin Fields this morning. Your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I think the Browns are tough, but Packers, they've got one pass rusher that really scares you, but the Bengals definitely, the Lions definitely. I know the Raiders got a great pass rush on Monday night, but I don't know how sustainable. Right. Over the last few years, they haven't. But just set that aside. The Andy Dalton stuff makes no sense. And I'm so tired of people being like, well, the Chiefs did it with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. First of all, one could argue that was a mistake midway through the year. They should have gone to Mahomes. Second of all, Alex Smith had been there for 4 years. He had taken him to the playoffs 3 times. He'd won double-digit games. He was way better than Andy Dalton, and he had earned more with the organization and the coaching staff. All Andy Dalton has earned with the Bears is $10 million, and they're going to pay him. This idea that they owe it to him is just asinine. And I know there's this feeling, you see this on political Twitter a lot, when someone has a take, and they're like, oh, everyone is saying I'm wrong, the left and the right, therefore I must be exactly where I need to be. The other option is, if everyone says you're wrong, maybe you're just wrong. Maybe everyone is correct that you're a dope. And this idea that the whole world, except for seemingly the folks broadcasting the Bears game and Matt Nagy, are like, yeah, probably start the guy who has a chance to be the best quarterback you've had since Sid Luckman. And you're like, nope, it's the Red Rifle. Maybe you're just wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe when he had the worst passer rating of anybody in the league other than Rodgers, started the season off with a pick in the end zone, that was a sign, go to Justin Fields. It's always going to be hard. It's the NFL. If you're a Bears fan, I don't know how much longer you can handle watching Andy Dalton, especially when you can go beat the Bengals. And so I 1,000%, they got to go to Fields. 1,000%.
Okay, so I watched Miami and New England. It's like watching the same team against each other. I mean, it really is, except Miami's got more speed on the perimeter. I thought Mac outplayed Tua, not by much, but you're kind of pushed back on the Mac Jones played well thing, I hear.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing. If you have, because people are like, oh my God, highest completion percentage for any rookie ever. Didn't turn the ball over. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like he did great. How many points did they score? Oh, 16? Oh, you had 4 drives of 13 plays or longer, and you had 16 points. The 1 touchdown you scored came after a very questionable borderline roughing the passer after a 3rd down stop. So how can you be that efficient and only score field goals and 1 touchdown? Because it's dink and dunk and dink and dunk and dump off. They kept the training wheels on him to such an extent. I know people disagree with me. If I was more impressed by Trevor Lawrence, he threw 3 picks. He made a mess of things, but he also made some super high-level throws. Yeah. And he made at least attempted some difficult throws. What I think people have wrong with New England is this. People assume, they're like, well, they just need the quarterback to not make mistakes. They're not talented enough for that to be true. Their offense is better, but it doesn't have any dynamic game-breaking playmakers except for maybe the running back. The defense is good, but it's not the defense of a couple years ago that looked like the best defense in the league. It's just not. It's probably like the 7th best defense in the league. If they're going to win enough games to make the playoffs, they're going to need some explosives on offense. And I think they need to, I know it's only week 1, let Mac Jones attempt some of those plays. Week 1, it was like they were coaching to avoid the mistake, and that's how you can allow 17 points to Miami in Foxborough and still lose the game.
Very good. That's very good. You're very good today. Don't have to agree with you. I thought you were very strong today, and you're stepping your suit game up. That's very corporate. You're kind of anti-corporate.
I am. No. That's true. And by the way, as soon as I get off, I'm going to go on Fanatics and send you the Derek Carr wall hanger that you've been looking for. They've got a lot of them because no one's ever bought one. But I'll send you one.
Nick Wright, good seeing you, buddy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.